Hi everyone. I have doubled up a little bit on my Instagram live interviews, but I've been organizing this one for a little while now, and hopefully it's going to be the best one yet. It is, of course, with Timo Boll, the legendary player of Europe. Now he hasn't done an Instagram live before, so hopefully we can get him in here okay, and don't have too many issues. Um, But yeah, no, very much looking forward to this. And obviously great to have someone like Timo here. And I have some pretty good questions for him about his career. So we'll just hang out and wait for him to hopefully show up. We're all going to have to cross our fingers. Hopefully some of you have had the chance to get back into your table tennis clubs now. My club just opened on Monday, so Timo's interviewing me. Yeah, that'd be the day. There's literally nothing interesting that I could say, maybe apart from educating him on how to use Instagram Live. Yeah, my club just opened on Monday, so things are hopefully starting to get a little bit back towards normal. It's a little bit bizarre. It's been a little bit slow, but hopefully things will really pick up maybe in the next month or so. I have, for those of you who haven't checked them out yet, I did a large series of coaching tutorial videos. So they're on my YouTube, which is MH Table Tennis as well. I did a series of 30 videos, and I also did 14 videos before it. So there are 44 videos, and they range from service tutorials, but a lot of it's like basic foundation and basic stuff. But yeah, I've got 44 videos up there. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you head over to MH Table Tennis on YouTube. And I will definitely be continuing on with that once I figure out what direction I want to take it in. So, haha, he's mastered the art of Instagram. Here we go. Everybody say hello to Timo. Congratulations, you made it.
Hello, hello. I'm not the
Well done.
Instagram professional.
Yeah, yeah. How have you been? This is great. I haven't, it's been such a long time since we saw each other last.
I'm fine. I mean, I'm at home right now. Um, Last week it was a bit disappointing that we lost in the
Mm.
playoffs after a tough fight.
Yeah, it's
But
quite tough to kind of come back and hit the ground running straight away, but you
yeah,
seemed like you were playing okay in the Düsseldorf Masters. It's not too bad.
yeah. I mean, I had a good start after the Corona lockdown here in Germany. I had not such a long preparation, but
Mm.
I felt quite well. But now the
That's you
season is
have
suddenly over
decades.
again.
Yeah, yeah. You had a one match and then back on holiday. Okay, so I have 10 questions for you, um, and maybe at the end we'll see if anybody else has any. So we're gonna start quite a while ago. You started playing table tennis when you were 4, and there's a very interesting video that has circulated in the past few years, that shows your progression of different ages that you were playing. But you were in the second league in Germany already by the time you were 13, which is unbelievably young to be, maybe not for you, maybe it was normal. But how was your experience in those early years and being in the second league and then even the first league in the next season at such a young age?
I think to play in the second league, I didn't play against the best players in the second league because I played on position 6. So I
Hmm.
played against the number 5 and the number 6 from the
Okay.
other teams. So I had a quite good score already this in that season. I think I just lost one game.
Oh, that's not bad.
But but the season before in the fourth league, this was quite tough because I played against the best players in the fourth
Mm,
league, and this was a quite big challenge for for that age. I mean,
mm,
and this helped me much more than to win all the games. I mean, it's always
right. Yeah.
you learn more from losing than from
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah. You don't need to tell me about that. I'm very educated on losing. Um, yeah. And so you went to the first league, and you were playing in the fifth position, right? The first season.
Yeah, position 3 and 4. I mean, we just had 4 players.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was 1995. Um, okay, so not long after that, you became the European Youth Champion. So you were the top player in Europe for the junior division. You also finished your secondary school education, and a lot of young table tennis players, especially in China or in Asia, tend to give up um, their education or their academic focus to pursue table tennis. Um, do you think that looking back, it was important for you in your development to finish your school education first? And when you were finishing school, did you at that time feel like table tennis was going to become your career for your whole life, or did you have some other ambitions?
Yeah, especially for my parents, it was always important to
Mm,
to have a good school education. And I mean, I was prepared to go to the college here in Germany to the and but I was already so good, as you said. I played
mm,
already in the first division and earned some money already from table tennis. And so yeah, all the national coaches sit together with my parents, and then we were deciding to make, yeah, 1 year just to try it out, yeah,
right.
how it is as a professional and if it can work out. And so yeah, we tried it out for 1 year, but
That seemed to have worked well,
but
right?
we had it but my parents had it in their mind that I still can continue to go to school and
Mm,
finish the college. But yeah, in that first year, it was running quite well, and I was already a good player in the league, and
mm.
so I went on to be a
Which we're all
professional.
glad about that. What do you
And
think you would have what do you think you would have studied if you'd gone to college? Was there anything that
not
interested you
no idea.
then? Maybe you would have
I
been some
was
kind of astrophysicist or something.
no, I was not that good in school. No, I had really no idea. I mean, I was also not sure if I can make it in table tennis. I mean, I was always a bit pessimistic and not too optimistic that I
Hmm.
become such a good player. So I was always a bit, yeah, it's difficult,
Interesting.
and I don't know. I don't know if I can make it. And I was just playing and yeah, enjoyed it.
You do, yeah, yeah. That was one thing that I noticed through those videos. Whenever you were playing, it always seemed like you were very, very passionate from a very young age.
Yeah.
Um, okay, 2002 and 2005 were both huge years for you. You won the World Cup twice. Not only did you win the World Cup, the first time you beat Wang Liqian, who was the world champion, and Kong Linghui, who was the Olympic champion. And then the second time in 2005, you beat Wang Liqian, Ma Lin, and Wang Hao. Did you feel at the times when you played those tournaments that you had a reasonable chance to compete with those Chinese players and to win those events? Um, and what kind of were there moments in those? I know you've talked about these on a few occasions, but were there particular moments that really stood out in those events that you remember well, or that you have fond memories of?
Oh, from my point of view, they were always so far away, and I was really surprised that I can beat them or challenge them a little bit. And so, yeah, it was especially 2002. It was a very big surprise
Right.
because it was my first World Cup I joined, and uh, yeah, to beat Wang Lichin in that period where he
Mm.
was outstanding, and also Kong Ling Hui, who was yeah, maybe the best player at the moment. It was, yeah, unreal for me. And yeah, 2005 was a bit different. I mean, in that time, I had a good score already against Wang Lichin. He was one of the top players from China, which I liked to play, but that I could beat Ma Lin and Wang Hao, this was not normal because they were tough opponents, especially in that period. I remember
Mm.
2004 when we had the final of the World Championships in the team event,
The
and
team.
Wang Hao, he was killing me in the final. So this was still in my mind. So, and yeah, it was for sure helping me to have the crowd behind me,
Mm.
and somehow I was really good in the open rallies. So I had the feeling in that tournament when the ball was rolling, I was the better player.
That must have felt amazing to have such confidence in open rallies with Chinese players.
Yeah.
Um, Also in 2002, you won your first of 7 European Championship gold medals in singles, and you became world number one for the first time. Now, obviously, winning 7 European Championships is a incredible thing to have in your career. Is there one, I know this is a very difficult question, but is there one particular moment or win in the European Championships that you remember more so than the others?
Of course, the
That I
first
like.
one
I
is
like this
always,
reaction.
of course, the first one is always a bit more special than the others. I mean, I got really nervous in that moment when I had the match points, and
Mm.
um, but also the last one was a nice one because I was not expecting too much. I came from an injury, and yeah, to have still the chance to challenge the younger guys in my
Mm.
current age, it's still fun, and yeah, it's still surprising me somehow.
You seem now more like the stress of competing has kind of gone away. So I know, like when people interview you after matches and stuff like that, it seems very much more like was there a particular point in your career where you felt there was a transition between everything being quite stressful or the competition being quite stressful to you just being more relaxed and enjoying the game? Or have you always been like that?
I have always been a little bit like that. So when I was young and my father drove me to a tournament, and suddenly in the car I was asking, where are we going? So I was, and my friend next to me, he couldn't sleep for days because he was so nervous before the tournament. So I was totally different. I don't want to say I didn't care, but I was not stressed
Mm.
from competing, or I, I had just the feeling in Olympics I felt a little bit more stressed out. I don't know why,
Well,
but
it's
even in
Olympics.
World Championships I feel quite relaxed. I mean, I never have the highest expectations from myself, and especially now after my surgery at the knee
Yeah,
2015, I had absolutely no expectations anymore because I was just thankful that I
could keep playing.
came
Yeah.
back, and because nobody knew how it will be, yeah, after such a
Mm.
big impact, yeah.
Um, okay. Speaking of world championships, I found something really interesting, which I actually didn't know before. In 2011, when you won the bronze medal,
Mhm.
was it 11 or 13? It was 11, right? Yeah. In Rotterdam. I didn't know that you hadn't played in the team or the doubles. And I read that you'd wanted to focus on the singles and you were actually able to win a bronze medal. And that's the one medal that you won in the World Championships in singles in your career. But after that, you went back to playing the team event. Um, if you look back on that, did you feel, I mean, knowing that you had given up, well, not given up, but put aside the team event and focused on the singles and been able to win a medal, um, did you feel afterwards that it was more important for you to play for the team than it was for you to get individual results?
I think already 2011, the team event was already separated from the singles event, but I didn't play doubles anymore.
Mm.
To
Oh
yeah,
yeah, why didn't I think of that? The team event. Um,
but
okay.
yeah, there was a reason because I wanted to be fresh in the singles. Um, yeah, if you go far, it's really tough, the big tournaments, to play best of seven, and especially the best players play each other. It's really exhausting every
Mm.
match, and um, I had the same now in Budapest this year. Played doubles and singles, and yeah, few tough games, and boom, I was ill. Yeah, because I had not the
Yeah.
strength
I
to handle
yeah.
this tough
I felt
matches.
for
And
yeah, I felt that was a real shame as well because when you looked at the draws for the singles and the doubles, that I felt like that could have been a, you know, a really big year for you.
so I had the same also 2005. I became ill during World Championships just before
Mm.
the doubles final. I had fever, and so yeah, in these days I had the feeling I have to concentrate, yeah, fully on the single to have a
Mm.
chance. And I mean, I think it was the right decision.
Yeah, when you walked
Even
away
I
with a
have
medal,
also
so
always I had always good partners also in doubles, and always a chance for a medal. So it was always not an easy decision.
mm. Um, this is a bit of a, I don't know if you remember this. You probably don't. When we were in China together quite a while ago, 5 years ago, um, I remember we were watching Fan Zhendong play his match when we were in the dining hall, and you said something that I remember really well, and it's kind of stuck with me. You said that it felt very strange for you to watch Fan Zhendong and to think about how many different generations of Chinese players had come and gone throughout your career. So your career basically spans from players like Ma Wanga all the way to the generation now, and you've managed to maintain level across. You've managed to be able to compete with almost all of them. Um, my question for you is what have your impressions been about the Chinese team across your career and how they've evolved or adapted between then and now?
Yeah, again, another 5 years passed. So
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
next generation is here. But yeah, it was always important that I adapt myself to the current style,
Mm,
also to evolve my game and um, to stay healthy, to stay fit. This was important. I mean, I'm not the same physical player like before. I
right.
think especially during 2004 and 2010, I was one of the fittest players on the in the circuit.
Mm.
But now I'm not so flexible anymore, so I needed to improve other things, yeah, technically, strategy, and yeah, also play smarter. I mean, I cannot rely just on my physical abilities anymore. I have to think about the sport even more, about my opponents, about my game, and about my strategy. So from the mindset, it's harder now, but physically it's easier.
So that actually links in with one of the other questions, um, because you have quite a unique career because you were number one in the world in 2003 and 2011 and 2018. So there were gaps of 7 to 8 years between. And the last time that you were ranked outside the top 20 was June 2001. So you've been in the top 20 players, and most of it is spent inside the top 10 for almost 2 decades. Um, do you feel like your experience has really been a big factor? And I know you said that obviously it's become more tactical now. Maybe you could give an example of some of the technical changes that you've made in the past few years or so, that have. What do you think has really helped you to be able to just maintain that level?
I think my biggest strength was always the rotation and also the yeah the my safety, my physical ability to
Mm,
keep the ball in the game and waiting for mistakes from the opponent. And that's not working anymore. I mean, with the new plastic
it's tough,
balls,
yeah.
it's not that easy anymore to rotate the ball with such an amount of
Mm,
spin. And so I need to play more precise, and I need to play closer to the table to yeah, to play more aggressive and to give more pressure to the opponent, to
did you
give them
find
not so much
making
time. Yeah.
Yeah, did you find making those changes quite difficult, or was it something that you had to train quite a lot for? Because I know, changing from maybe playing a little bit further back from the table to playing earlier, can be quite challenging. Was it something that you felt came quite naturally to you, or was it something you really had to put a lot of work into?
No, I think I'm very analytic, and if I feel something is not working, then I change it. So
Mm,
I'm not the
logical.
guy who believes my style is the best. So if I have the feeling, yeah, some kind of other techniques are more efficient, then I change to them. And if I feel, yeah, this movement is helping more, or this, yeah, technique or strategy, then I change to it. So
Mm,
I just felt it somehow.
logical. Um, This is an interesting question, which I've thrown out once in these interviews before. During your table tennis career, have there been players that have really stood out that you've struggled to play against? And then also, have there been any players that you always felt that you were able to play really well against?
Oh, there were quite many players which I really feared. um, I mean, there was, of course, Marlin was one of the guys. I really didn't like to play him. You never had a good rhythm against him. He was a smart player also, and
Mhm.
he had so many different techniques and rotations, and it was really no fun. um, Adrian Krishan was one player. I mean, he was
Yeah,
always
I had an Instagram live with him already. So
well,
yeah.
he was really playing good against me because he was also very safe and
Mm.
he had a good tactic against me, and so he's nearly same age like me, so we played very often, and I think it was always 50-50.
And yeah, were there players that you felt that you always played really well against, or that you were able to maybe players that you had good tactics for, or
I mean, compared to his level, I mean, I played really good against Wang Lichin. I mean, he had years when he didn't lose one match.
mm,
So, but against me, he was always struggling somehow. So he had problems with my serve and with my return and with my rotation. And it was the same thing like what I had with Marlin, and he couldn't
but the
play
other way around?
against me somehow. Everything was not fitting for him to my
Well, I
style.
mean, if you're gonna choose one player to play really well against, I think you picked the right one.
Yeah, but I was such a big fan of him. I learned so much from his style, and especially he was such an athlete. So he was
Mm,
also a big idol to me.
that's cool. Um, okay, you played in the Chinese Super League for a few seasons. You were part of a group of, there was a small group of foreign players that they let into the Chinese Super League. Um, do you feel like that time that you spent in China as part of the Super League gave you a very unique insight into how to compete with those Chinese players? And do you think that being part of a very small group of foreigners that were allowed into the league, do you think that gave you an advantage over maybe some of the other top players from outside of China who weren't able to compete there?
I mean, it was very helpful. I think I played 6, 7 times in the
Mm,
Chinese Super League, and um, to stay there, practice every day with top players, compete against them every third or fourth day. It's really helpful. I mean, they didn't give me a lot of advice or technical support or
yeah.
anything, but just to play often against them, this is helping, yeah, the most, I would say. I mean, that's the big advantage of the Chinese national team. They have such a strong practice group, and they practice together all the time, and that's why always young players come up really fast because they adapt to the high level of the other top players.
And you after some time that you were there, you stopped eating meat. I remember when we were in China, you weren't eating meat. Did you find that in the beginning particularly challenging to, I mean, like I've been to China a few times and meat is a really big part of their dining culture. So was it difficult for you to be training at such a high level and, having these diet restrictions?
Um, yeah, we are also forbidden to eat meat in China, so it was always a challenge a little bit.
Mm,
But but overall, I like the Chinese food. I mean, it's quite healthy, and they
mm.
have a lot of wet vegetables and stuff which I really like, and so it was not such a big thing to adapt to the food there.
Okay, I have one more question before we see if anybody else has any. Um, you obviously had some injuries during your career, and you also had the operation. You've always continued to compete, and you've always said that you will carry on competing for as long as you can, and as long as your body will allow you to. But also, I've seen a couple of interviews with you where you do recognize that there will be a day that you will retire from playing. As much as nobody wants to think about that. Is there something that you would like to focus on more after your playing career? I know you have now some good video series with your Timo Boll web coach. Is there an interest in coaching? Do you want to stay involved in the sport? Maybe are you going to steer towards golf like some of the other table tennis, top European table tennis players?
Yeah, I have not a detailed plan already for what will happen after my career. I hope it will go on another few years.
I hope so too.
But I mean, I'm a tech nerd, and I really like to record the videos and to cut them myself for the Timo Boll web coach. And
Hmm.
I just made some voiceovers because we want to bring it out also in English language.
Oh,
And
that's great.
so, but it's also a lot of work, and to do it just aside,
Mm,
yeah, it's not perfect, but I will concentrate a little bit more on it when I finish my career. But yeah, on the other hand, I think it's important to give my knowledge to others who like to know. And that's why I think it's a good project, and where I also have fun.
mm,
So I don't know if I find something yeah, which will be the same for me like table tennis, which feels really, yeah, this is it. This is the real thing for me, and this will be really difficult to find. But I want to do something which I really enjoy also after my active career.
right. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see if anybody has any questions they want to add. I know Simon Gauzy just said hello, and also Timothy Wong from the US. So there's a couple of players tuning in. Maybe they're trying to learn some information for the next time that they play you. So if anybody has any questions that they want to quickly put in here, maybe we can answer some best
Simon was
match.
also a player which I really feared.
Yeah, it's very unpredictable, right? I've seen some crazy shots from him.
But now I
So
have a
somebody's
good streak against him.
somebody's asked if there is one match that stands out to you as your best match. That's a tough question.
Uh, I remember one match. It was not my best match. It was a good match from my side, but I lost to Malin one time. I think 11-1, 11-0, 11-4, and 11-1.
Wow.
and, and this was the best performance I ever felt. I
Oh, wow.
mean, he was destroying me like I was a hobby player, and yeah, he played every ball on the table, and it was really crazy which
That's
shots
crazy.
he
Oh,
made.
look,
And
Adrian's here. He's come to check out the Chris Hunt's come to check out the action. Somebody also asked if you would like to play doubles with Ma Long again.
um, I don't know. I mean, there are no plans right now. It was fun to play with him. I mean, we had really a tough draw when we
Yeah,
played the World
yeah, I
Championships.
remember that. Yeah,
Already in the second and third round, we played always
yeah.
the the World Championship, the World Champions later on, and I had the feeling we played not bad, but it was not enough.
Yeah,
And I had
yeah, I
also the
remember that
feeling
draw.
the other Chinese pairs they were really hot against us.
Mm.
So
I mean, that World Championships, they probably knew that if they were able to beat you guys, they would probably win the whole event. I remember that. It was the second round, right, with Shushin and Janjika. It's a very
yeah,
interesting draw.
yeah, it was a good game. I mean,
Mm.
I enjoyed it, but we had our chance. I mean, I think in the second set we were leading, lost it, and but yeah, they were really on fire in the end.
Somebody's asked which year you feel was the best year of your career.
I don't know. I think 2015 was a quite good year. I came back from the Chinese league in the summer, and I had really the feeling I'm the best player ever. So I mean, I had a 8-1 or 8-2 score in the league there, and I felt I'm in a really good shape. But suddenly my knee felt a little bit inflamed, and I went to the doctor, and yeah, then suddenly they told me, yeah, you need a surgery, otherwise Olympics are in
Off the
real
cards,
danger,
right?
or your whole
Yeah.
career is in danger. So yeah, it was a tough decision to do the surgery or to continue till the Olympics. It was just 1 year before, so especially with this shape which I had. But in the end, I told myself it's more important to continue your career for another few years, and so I don't regret it. So
Mm.
maybe
Um,
I would
go.
have had a good chance maybe in the Olympics, but I mean, health is always more important than anything
Yeah.
else.
A couple of people have asked if you still remember the point with Waldner where he blocked the ball and kind of walked away from the table. I see this one online all the time. Do you have, I mean,
Every night I have nightmares.
do you find that that there are particular moments during your career that you remember really vividly? I mean, you know, like at this stage of your career, it must be difficult to recall so much and so many moments from your table tennis career. Does it get like is it easy for you to remember, you know, particular moments like that? I mean, that one's probably hard to forget.
Unfortunately not. I mean, I remember this ball, but just because of YouTube, because yeah, it's showing up regularly.
Mm,
And otherwise, I would have surely forget it. I mean, the first time I watched some games from the World Cup 2002 was just during the Corona lockdown. I
oh,
had
really?
no, I really had no idea how I was playing, against whom I was playing, and of course I remembered the final against Kong Ling Hui, but I had really no idea about the other games, and I
Mm.
just forget it. Yeah,
It was
I
quite,
don't know
yeah,
if
it
it's
was
a
18
shame,
years ago.
but yeah, it's happening. I cannot look back. I just look forward.
It's not a bad thing. All right,
And
what other questions?
it's really hard to remember, yeah, so many games. I haven't counted, but there were quite many in my career.
Mm. A couple of people also asked. They asked who your biggest nemesis was in the Olympics, which is a strange question. But kind of connecting with that, you said that the Olympics was really the one time when you felt there was a lot more pressure on you. Do you think that there are things that you could have done differently if you were to go back now, maybe in the build up to the Olympics? I know, of course, you were injured before Rio, but yeah, that was Tim Wong asking that question. um, so yeah. Do you think that there are things that you could have done differently that perhaps would have helped you perform better at the Olympics?
Um, I think, yeah, the toughest loss was 2004 against Waldner in the quarterfinal,
Mm,
because, I mean, I was playing normally quite good against him. I had a quite good score. I've beaten him, I think, 1 or 2 months before the Olympics, and afterwards, I think 2 or 3 weeks later, I beat him again. But just that important game, I lost to him. But that was also his quality to win the right
mm,
games, the important games, and to be, yeah, really focused on these games. So it was always a bit difficult to prepare myself just to one moment, yeah,
mm,
and especially for Olympics, because before Olympics there were just training camps, no competitions. So for 2 months we were just practicing, and this is not my style, how I improve myself or
right.
get to my best form. I need real matches. I need tournaments and competition, and I need to get used to the stress factor, and also to the strategy. I need I need this, yeah, some kind of routine,
Right.
and a training match is just different, and you cannot copy it. So
Mm,
so
interesting.
I would play more competitions before the Olympic Games now. Not so much trainings camps and more competitions, more tournaments. Also close to the Olympics. Yeah. I think this would have helped me.
Somebody has asked who you think are some of the standout players among this next young generation. So like Harimoto and Lin Yunju, what you think of those players and how they're playing?
Yeah, they are awesome. I mean, uh, Tomokatsu, he was so young and already so good.
Mm.
It was really crazy when he reached already the quarterfinal when he was 13. I mean, um, yeah, I don't know how far I was at age 13, but I was, yeah, just a pupil. I mean, I was playing Playmobil at this moment, and um, yeah, I mean, it's still tough to for him to be really the best player, because there are others like Fan Zhendong and
Mm.
um, which are still better than him overall. And he's also young. I mean, Fan Zhendong, I don't know how old he is, 22, 23.
Yeah.
And yeah, it will be a big challenge for him to make the last step I mean, from his backhand, he's really very dangerous. I think his forehand he still can improve because he's just thinking with. So he's more thinking playing backhand, and he's not so neutral like Fan Zhendong.
Yeah, yeah.
He's yeah very complete from both sides, I would say.
That kind of brings up an interesting point. You last time was it last time you played Fan Jindong? You had quite a good chance to win the match. You haven't been able to beat him yet, have you? What is
No,
it that what sorry to bring this up. What is it
no,
that
it's okay.
what is it that you find about Fan Jindong that is particularly more difficult than a lot of the other players? And if you look at his game style overall, do you think he's really the player that has the biggest chance maybe to win the next Olympic Games?
Um, I mean, I have a very bad score against him. I couldn't beat him so far and lost 10 times. I mean, just 5 times last season. Nearly every tournament we played each other. So it was really hard. But on the other hand, it's nice to play him. I mean, he's playing so clean and he's very safe, but it's not like against Marlin where you just have a bad feeling and
Mm,
you have already problems with his serve and it's hard to catch his first topspin and he's not playing ugly, I would say. He's just playing good and perfect
mm,
somehow. And he has a little bit in or I try to have an equal style like him to play really safe and good tactics, good placement of the ball, and so he's a very smart player. But of course, he also needs self-confidence for his game. I think he lost it a little bit 1 year ago. So in that time, he was also a bit struggling, and
mm,
so even the top players need some kind of self-confidence to be really on the highest level. So you always have to push yourself, and it's not that you can say, yeah, Malong has the biggest chance to become Olympic champion in Tokyo. It's still also a long way for him to keep
yeah.
his level so high.
Um, somebody's asked what your views are on table tennis becoming a sport where professionals can make good money, like golf, soccer, and tennis. Yeah, I'm sure you've had a chance to look at world table tennis. What do you think about that in general?
Um, I mean, it's hard to talk about it in the recent time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really hard for the ITTF to bring this new world table tennis up now. I think they have a lot of problems now to organize tournaments and
Yeah, yeah.
find sponsors and find, yeah, places where they can held these tournaments with such a high prize money, and it's not that easy. I mean, they have good plans. I mean, they try to be even more professional and try to make the sport more interesting, and they yeah bring some good characters, I think, in the team who have a lot of experience and also in other sports, and especially from sports which are really successful in the whole world. And so I'm happy that I can live from my sport quite well, and I could never I have never imagined that I yeah, live from the sport in such a way, and especially also for such a long time. And
Mm.
so I'm really thankful. I mean, there are so many other sports who cannot, where the sportsman cannot live from their sport and who have to work beside. And so, of course, it's easier to always look up to other sports, but sometimes you need to look down also
That's a good point. Yeah.
to be happy what you have.
All right. Let's see if there's one more question, and then anybody taking one last question. Has to be a good one though. Maybe not. Maybe I'll think of something. Um, One of the things that I just thought of before, um, you and Vladi are kind of in a similar spot of being quite late in your career but still performing quite well. Obviously, you two are quite good friends, but you've also been rivals and gone through your career competing as the top players in Europe. Um, do you think that there are a lot of similarities between both of you?
Yes, somehow, yes.
Especially in terms, I guess, in terms of playing style and adapt how you've been able to adapt, I guess, to the lots of changes or
Yeah, I think Vlade is also a player who really understood the game and what is important to be a good player, and especially from tactics. And um, we have we have different styles. I mean, he's a tall guy and he's really good in the passive game. I
mm,
think, especially when I was younger, I wasn't that good in the passive game, but I was a bit, yeah, I was more a physical player. I was when I was playing a topspin. When I started to play a topspin, I was not finishing. So so I was really good in the movements. And but I think we both understood what is important for the game, and but still have, yeah, respect for other players, and uh, be fair in the game.
mm.
And also beside that, we have also really the same hobbies, and we have also some things to talk around table tennis.
Fantastic stuff. Okay, well, I'm going to let you escape now. I know you're going on vacation, so I hope that is enjoyable for you to get out and about a little bit more and spend some more time with your family. But thanks for giving up some of your time. It's very nice to see you again, and hopefully, at some point, we'll have the opportunity to sit down. I think I owe you a few beers for doing this
No,
doing this interview with me.
no, it's
Um,
okay.
yeah, it's been great. Definitely
No
appreciate you
beers
spending some
till
time.
Olympics. No beers till Olympics.
Okay, all right, deal. But the first few rounds are on me. But
Okay.
yeah, thanks very much for joining, Timo, and enjoy your little vacation.
Thank you. Thank you. And
See you
bye
next
to
time.
all the others.